speaking of movies that you probably don't love, what is next? I mean, I have no idea how you feel, but...
So next up we've got Dominique from 1979. Pretty simple story. It's about a husband who drives his wife to suicide so can inherit whatever money she has. She seems to be quite a wealthy woman. I guess it's one of those situations where the husband and the wife have separate money. I would have thought they would have been combined. But anyways, so not long after her death, he starts seeing his wife again throughout the house in quite a haunting fashion. So I think the thing about this movie, I don't necessarily say, I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. Throughout the movie, it's quite dull at times. I do like the imagery of the wife walking down that hallway. I think sometimes she has a knife, or maybe it was like a scalpel or something. I like the scenes where he was seeing his wife kind of coming towards him, but those scenes are kind of once every 15-20 minutes, and all the things happening between those moments. While it's not boring, it's just a bit dull. I guess dull is the way to explain it for me. I like the music in the movie. There's a tune she plays on the piano. It's not all that memorable, but as you hear it, it's, you hear it in the background. Oh, okay, something's about to start happening. So I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it as well. Yeah, it's sounding like you didn't have all that much fun with this one, so what were your thoughts on this?
I actually thought the movie, taken by itself, it was competent. It was like, okay, it was stuffy. The problem is, I've seen this story many times before 1979. There's a extraordinarily well-known French movie from 1955 titled Diabolique, which is not necessarily horror, but it has a pretty similar plot, and it's a fantastic movie. Then there's a 1958 movie titled The Screaming Skull, which has a very similar plot. Then there's a 1963 Italian movie starring Barbara Steele titled The Ghost, or in its original Italian Lo Spaccio, which again has a very, very similar plot. And all three of those movies I think are better done than this one. So it's not so much the movie itself is horrible, it's just that the story has been done quite a few times before, and because of that, it's really hard to take this one as that original a movie. I mean, like, the movie itself is okay. Like you said, there's some creepy things, it's occasionally atmospheric, but, I don't know, it's pretty stuffy. It's like an hour and 40 minutes, you can watch it, it's just, I don't know how much fun you're going to have. There's a few interesting scenes. I like the death of, I think it was a doctor, but I forget the character exactly. But that was a pretty interesting, it's almost like a first-person point of view death sequence. That was interesting. But, I don't know, the story just wasn't unique, and, I don't know, it's not necessarily a terrible movie. It's just, I've seen this before, and I've seen it better. So, that's my main opinion.
Yeah, well, I did first watch this, it was on Tubi TV, but it was like a standard definition. It was kind of like watching a good VHS tape, I guess, or maybe like a pretty old DVD maybe. And I guess when I was watching that, as you know, I prefer the best quality that I can, because clearly I think most movies that get made, even the older ones, or they weren't meant to be seen all washed out full screen on a VHS, The director's intention is, usually a widescreen presentation, you can see everything clearly. So when I first watched it in that standard def type quality, I think I missed out on some of, what they have, they called it like the conservatory, the area where all the hanging was.
The sort of gardening. Gardening, yeah.
Now, I'm not sure what kind of quality you watched this movie in, but I watched a HD version of it recently, and the colors really popped in that area. Like, it was kind of like a neon type, a lot of pinky purples and blues, and it was quite nice to see in those particular scenes. It really stood out, something that I didn't see in that standard version.
Yeah, so I actually watched The Voice and I was on Tubi. So you know me, I can I can pretty much watch static on the screen and enjoy it. I'm not quality, like, it doesn't matter that much to me. So I kind of imagine seeing it in like sort of I guess more vivid colors. It'll probably make some scenes stand out more. I actually do think that conservatory scenes are probably some of the better scenes. One, because I really like that area of the house. I thought it was pretty cool. And of course, well, obviously a lot of the action takes place, where they're hanging. So I thought that was pretty cool. One thing I actually did want to quickly mention is that when you brought this movie up to, possibly talk about, I never really heard of this one before. It's based on what I've seen, it's not a particularly well-known movie, and maybe that's going to be changing over the next, 5 years, I'm not sure, but it's not a movie I heard much about. So I definitely think it was interesting seeing, especially what was going on over in the UK in the late 70s. So I don't know, just a small thing, but I thought it was sort of interesting.
Yeah. So I had an okay time with this one. There's nothing really all that great or memorable about it. The occasional scenes where he's seeing his wife, or supposedly seeing his wife, walking down the hallways and things like that. Those moments were pretty decent, but they're kind of mixed in with a lot of other dull or slow-moving scenes where there's just not, even though there's things happening and the story's progressing, it's just not always all that exciting. I didn't mind the twist. Like you said, it's not all that original, but to be honest, originality is not a huge thing for me. I appreciate it when it does happen, but we watch slasher movies which copycat every other movie before it, until the end of time. So it's not such a huge problem for me. I'll give the movie a 6. Yeah, I didn't mind watching it, and I probably won't mind watching it again. Maybe 5-10 years down the track, but it was just okay.
I think I agree with most of that. I think Dominique's a fine movie. It's made decently well. It's just that the content is occasionally boring. It's a bit stuffy. That may partially be because it's a British movie. So maybe that's a sort of Americanized point of view. But I don't think this movie has a lot going for it. I like The Tryst, but like I said, I've seen The Tryst so many times before movies from before 1979. So it's not like it came across as shocking. Like, as soon as I started seeing these sort of ghostly apparitions, I thought, oh hey, is that where this movie's going on? Hey, it's where that movie went. So I don't know, there's not much unique, and there's nothing really in this movie that's told out that well. There's a few creepiest scenes, but I saw this movie like 2 days ago and I don't remember most of it. So yeah, it's not a particularly memorable movie. So I'm okay with giving this like a 6 out of 10. It's not terrible. It's okay. It's just, there's not much, in my opinion. There's not much to it, and I don't know if there's much of a point to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that one chauffeur guy. What was his name? Tony. Tony. Yeah, it's funny. I just, whenever it was on screen talking, I kept thinking Michael Caine.
I can see it.
Yeah. He had a similar look, and obviously the voice, and
you know what?
I don't know.
I'll say if this movie had Michael Caine in it, I would give it like at least a 7.
It needed that Michael Caine touch. Yeah, he tried to do his best Michael Caine and just came up short.